Clap your hands for the painter!
Hello, we are the PaiNTeRS. Thank you for coming. We are not from the area. We are from vague European places. But we've been spending the day in your town. We were at the Plains Arts Museum all day. Good job. Sorry.
We went.
We went.
At the beauty of the art.
That's pretty good.
We've also repainted one of your buffaloes. If you guess which one, you win. We're going to create art for you. If there's any art that you particularly like, you can share it back to us on Facebook with the hashtag #StartSeeingArt. It boosts our fragile egos. It's important to enjoy art because it's like a snapshot of beauty before you die. We're going to start now. All we need from you is an object you would like us to paint.
A jar.
A forklift.
A jar. Thank you. We are the painters. Jar. 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 Jar.
You see a large mason jar, 6 feet tall.
It holds gallons.
Oh, marbles! Tiny marbles.
It has a label on the front of it.
It says Timmy's.
Marbles.
There's one deceased fish floating around in the middle.
Each of the marbles is filled with a different liquid.
One of them is half full of some strange orange floating liquid. The dead fish eyes the liquid.
That same marble is half empty with that orange liquid. This mason jar is in a large warehouse.
Nothing here is my size. It's so big.
You can see the metal rafters supporting the ceiling. They are hundreds of feet away.
There are giant Christmas lights dangling down from the rafters.
Big twinkle.
There are fans rotating, like just giant fans. Woo, woo.
They're making the Christmas lights just kind of waver back and forth.
They are making every liquid in this jar waver up and down. The light reflects through the marbly balls, and you can see it sparkling on the ground around the jar.
On the ground in the aisles between all the shelves, the massive shelves, there is a normal-sized scientist driving a golf cart.
The golf cart is Schwinn brand.
The scientist has on safety goggles.
The scientist is pulling behind him on the golf cart giant-sized pieces of wood.
On the wood it says meant for a wood fireplace for pizza.
In the bottom of the jar, we see one of the marbles is dripping liquid. A tiny siren goes off on the scientist's lapel.
It's got a little red like LED display and it says plop.
The lid of the mason jar is closed, but not too tight.
As the scientist speeds along in his golf cart, His science hat starts to fly off his head.
The science hat is a white fedora.
As he speeds along, the jar starts to vibrate, and the lid unwinds.
Plop, 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 plop.
The marbles inside start exploding, shooting liquids half full everywhere.
The explosions accelerate in rapidity.
The scientist quickly pulls up in his golf cart to the mason jar.
As one of the back falls over. As these liquids cover the fish, it starts to grow.
It looks like what would happen if you just like turned a goldfish cracker into a fish. Goldfish.
The lid keeps unscrewing.
The smile on the goldfish gets wider and wider.
This goldfish is no longer dead.
The scientist climbs on top of the mason jar.
He has overalls on that are say protect and serve.
The goldfish is now filling the 6-foot-tall mason jar.
The goldfish spreads its fins and explodes the jar.
The scientist flies out of the way.
And hits a bookshelf.
We see one small green book, his size, fall to the floor.
It falls open to a page that had a bookmark in it.
In this, there's a tree and it's selflessly giving a child what it has.
We zoom in to the photo of the tree.
It's a really sad tree.
And a really sad child.
And a really selfish child. And then guilt hangs around this child's head.
And vines.
The vines are entwining the child around and around.
This child is getting his comeuppance.
We see the tree start to smile.
Just out of the reach of the child, there is a bright, shiny red apple.
This child is incredibly hungry.
This apple is coated in wax so that the shine is fake.
Wax slowly drips off the apple. Plop.
This apple is super hot.
The wax is secreted from the leaf that's on the very top of the tree and just is slowly working its way down.
Over here, there's a bunch of other trees who are the giving tree's friend, who really like told the tree, like, you deserve better.
The child begins to be covered in wax. This tree over here is Grandmother Willow, and her face is judgy.
This tree is Grandpa Birch.
The wax is dripping down the child's body, leaving long streaks.
Grandmother Willow and Grandfather Birch are from different sides of the family, actually.
The wax on the child starts to like turn rainbow, like when you go to the fair and you get a rainbow wax casting of your hand.
It's also hardening into a shell.
It is a perfect shell, a perfect representation of the child within.
And it looks like a precious moments kid.
We see the now free apple begin to smile. The apple decides to release itself from its ties to the tree and falls to the ground.
As it falls, we see an emancipation notice like stapled to the tree.
This apple is 16 years old.
This apple has had it all.
This apple, you never understand, Dad.
This apple lands on the shell of the child and it shatters.
There's nothing inside.
Smells like Teen Spirit by Nirvana starts playing.
The apple gets on a motorcycle and just drives.
You see that apple riding its Harley down the highway.
It says I motor.
There is a street sign that it whizzes by that says Route 66.
It whizzes by a sign that says welcome to Las Vegas, and then a sign that says leaving Las Vegas.
The apple's stem is just blowing in the wind.
It passes a sign that says welcome to Sacramento, and then leaving Sacramento.
It passes a station wagon with a family of carrots, and it just like looks at them like, I'm cool and you're not.
You see the gas meter go down to empty.
The apple's motorcycle slows down. The wind is less effective on the stem.
The stem is gray now and thinning.
The motorcycle has started to rust, quickly rusting over.
He's stopped next to a sign that says, "Welcome to Wisconsin."
We see that the rust is really aged cheddar.
The apple is shriveled inside of its skin.
The leather jacket that the apple was wearing is now much too large for it.
The leather jacket was made of pigs, though. Just so you know.
A small tear falls from the apple's eye as it thinks on what it could have been.
The apple turns green as it becomes a Granny Smith.
It sees that it's landed in a field with a bunch of other apples that are ladylike.
Like Pink Lady. Which is this apple.
The pink lady apple has a sun hat on.
The pink lady apple is wearing a pink jacket that says Pink Lady.
The pink lady apple has a group of friends that also wear pink and like do fun activities.
The Pink Lady apple has white lace gloves.
The pink lady apple has not even noticed the Granny Smith apple.
She hates her children.
It's clear that this pink lady apple is like the queen of the other ones.
She's got a little apple crown on her apple head.
That says, I am the queen.
The Pink Lady apple started a book club for her apple friends.
She's reading The Giving Tree.
The Granny Smith apple, sitting on the motorcycle, tips over and rolls towards the pink lady apple.
He has bad hips, so it's taken a while.
As he collides with the pink lady apple, their skins touch.
A little bit of pink comes into the Granny Smith, and a little bit of green comes into the pink lady.
And a baby Macintosh is
Pink lady hates it.
Granny Smith loves it.
The Granny Smith picks up the Macintosh and cradles it. Names it Hank.
It reminds him of Hank Collins. There's commas. Colin Hank.
Hank's skin is a blend of green and pink swirling like a marble.
Hank is a GMO.
Hank's skin keeps swirling actively and moving like clouds flying across the sky.
Ooh, it looks like in the frickin' Men in Black movie when it's like Orion's belt.
A galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We zoom into the galaxy and see that it is filled with many apples rotating around each other.
They all have jobs.
They all have Steve Jobs standing on each of them.
Steve Jobs has colonized the universe. You thought he was dead.
All of the Steve Jobses have different jobs.
One of them is a job finder, career man.
This Steve Jobs is a bricklayer.
This Steve Jobs works at Taco John's.
This Steve Jobs has been looking for a new job.
This Steve Jobs hates his jobs.
This Steve Jobs doesn't measure up to the other jobs.
This Steve Jobs has a book in his pocket, which is How to Love Yourself More.
He's never opened it.
In his other pocket is the giving tree, and he's crossed out all the people.
So it's just about a tree that dies slowly.
This Steve Jobs has a pin on his lapel that says, "Ask me about enchiladas."
But no one ever does.
The enchiladas, it turns out, are empanadas.
He wants to have the pin fixed, but just can't afford it right now. Spend all his money on books.
The pin knows and is hurt by this.
This Steve Jobs is in a hybrid Taco Bell Pizza Hut.
He's going rogue looking for a new job.
Steve Jobs is giving resumes to everywhere, guys.
This is his last chance. He's giving his resume to a Steve Wozniak.
This Steve Wozniak's beard is even bigger. It's like Gandalf.
This Steve Wozniak's beard is actually covering up his whole torso, so he's not wearing a shirt.
There are birds living in the beard.
This resume just says, I'm Steve Jobs. Duh.
This resume is like super vague, so it's like maybe you'll assume he's that Steve Jobs.
But all the things that are on it are like, great people skills from babysitting.
This Steve Wozniak is wearing a skirt.
He knitted it himself.
Out of your hair.
This Steve Wozniak is wearing a crown that says, I am the queen.
This Steve Wozniak hates his kids.
None of the birds in his beard are related to each other.
In his wallet, though, he keeps pictures of all of his kids, and all of them just say, "Greg?" question mark.
Literally, all of them just say, Greg?
The resume begins to smolder in Steve Wozniak's hand.
And a bird flies out!
And lands in Steve Jobs' mouth.
He swallows it. You see it go down his esophagus.
It's an X-ray cutout of Steve Jobs.
It turns blue, and Steve Jobs invents Twitter.
Sends its first tweet.
It flies out of the phone, tweet, 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 into the ether.
It says, "LOL, look at all the food I'm eating."
There's a picture of a taco.
This tweet lands in the laptop of a preteen.
This preteen has a mohawk, like a really stereotypical punk rock mohawk.
This preteen's parents won't let her have a smartphone.
This preteen's parents say to keep the door open, but she doesn't.
This preteen is also wearing like a Girl Scout vest, but like ironically.
This preteen is wearing a button that says, "Ask me about quesada."
This preteen has a book of poetry.
It's never been opened.
But it looks super cool.
The title of the book of poetry is The Collected Works of Keats.
This preteen,
With a question mark.
this preteen hits retweet.
The tweet pops out of the computer. Hundreds of tweets being retweeted. Pook, 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 pook.
0100111000011.
Our businessman gets in mid-meeting.
He's at a giant executive table and he's not working.
He is at one end of a giant executive table.
He works at Apple.
He has a bright colored shirt on. It's red.
This whole table is a touch screen.
The beeping of his phone disrupted the meeting. Everyone is glaring at him, pissed off.
So much so that this guy put his mug down too hard and cracked the screen.
The crack slowly spreads, reaching into everyone else's computers.
Screen goo spills out. The screen is filled with goo.
The screen goo is a bright metallic silver.
The metallic silver drips over the edge of the table.
The metallic silver is similar to mercury.
The metallic silver is probably mercury.
If you look closely at it, it looks swirly like the galaxy from Men in Black.
If you look a little bit closer, it's swirling like a baby apple made out of other apples.
If you look a little closer, it's making the Silver Surfer.
The silver surfer surfs down the edges of the probably mercury.
This angry executive puts on a big purple helmet and leaves.
Green Goblin, nope.
It's Galactus.
I don't know that. Okay.
okay, it's okay. This executive has a head that looks like an apple, with a small tuft of hair coming up the top.
It looks like those Gushers commercials from the 90s, like he ate a Gusher and turned into an apple.
As this screen shatters, more and more wind starts coming out, blowing his gust.
He feels the force of the wind in his face as if he's riding down the highway.
Sprinkles of mercury fly.
The mercury pops onto his face, and he remembers the time riding through that windstorm.
We go back into the windstorm. We see him riding on a Vespa.
He's in Venice, Italy.
Winds of upwards of 10 miles per hour.
A woman wearing a pink lady jacket is seated on the back.
He's riding very closely on the canal. It says canal on the side, and it's like spelled out in K-A-N-N-A-L.
Is the English canal. It's a precarious road in between.
He's going so slowly that the canal men on canal boats are going faster than him.
On the gondolas.
The pink lady is wearing perfume, Chanel.
That's right.
The apple man is wearing Cologne.
It's from Nice.
He's thinking of getting her champagne for later.
They have a picnic basket full of Bologna.
They're in Europe.
He takes her to a small field on a hillside.
He's been practicing his Italian for weeks.
They pull over and find a nice tree to picnic under.
It's a willow, a grandmother willow.
And its face is really judgy.
They roll out the blanket next to the willow.
Grandmother Willow is such a prude.
Grandmother Willow wears a brooch.
Grandmother Willow checks for wedding rings.
Sees none.
Grandmother Willow hopes they have separate blankets.
They don't! The apple man.
Grandmother Willow hits them with branches and blames it on the wind.
The Apple executive pulls out of the picnic basket a bottle of champagne.
The Italian woman is disgusted by his pronunciation of Italian words and walks off in a huff.
Grandmother Willow is pleased.
The Apple executive pops open the bottle.
The cork flies away and lodges into the Grandpapa Birch.
Grandpa Birch is over 100 years old. Grandpa Birch's end is nigh.
There is a metallic liquid flowing out of the wound.
It's gold. As it drips down into the roots, you see saplings start to spring up around him.
Golden tree after golden tree grows up very quickly because it's gold destroyed.
They are in a perfect circle surrounding him.
A perfect circle is playing. It's a band from the 90s.
All these trees bear golden apples, even though he wasn't an apple tree. Okay.
These golden apples are all very beautiful and shiny.
Each of them is covered in wax.
Each of them are now preteens. You wouldn't understand.
They're just spinning, doing their own thing.
Each of these apples is a really complex person. Like they have their own likes and wants and stuff.
Like they have trouble with their bios because they can't put themselves into a paragraph.
And
It's really hard.
they have no doors to close on their parents.
They can't explain themselves in 140 characters.
They need like a Zanga post.
The apple executive watches these trees grow and reaches for the first fruit.
The Apple executive plucks a golden apple.
And the tree dies.
The gold from the apple starts to cover the Apple executive.
The Apple executive, King Midas is himself, turns into a golden statue.
Like, Trust the Midas Touch starts playing weirdly in the air.
And we see that this was all a commercial that was happening in the Apple boardroom.
On a giant conference table with a
Oh,
touch
that's
screen.
a There's no crack in it. This table is not filled with food.
The executives are all looking down. The commercial ends.
They all look up at the main person at the end of the table.
It's Steve Jobs.